We are Cactus Wrestling. Make sure you hit that like button and subscribe so you don't miss out on future videos.
Cactus Wrestling is now available on Spotify and Amazon. And don't forget to check us out on Etsy for all of your Cactus Wrestling apparel needs. It's just two heads here tonight at Cactus Wrestling, your favorite internet wrestling show. And we're here to talk about the biggest upsets of the weekend. Starting with, it's always a good way to start things. You know what? We're not going to start with Big Ten stuff. We're gonna talk about another big upset that happened
In the Big 12.
in the Big 12. Which one did you have in mind?
Oh, I thought we were gonna say Chittum.
Oh, well, yeah. Yeah, we can start there. So you and I wrestled Iowa State, and you and I's looking good, man. I mean,
They were undefeated going into the match against uh, not the most recent, like a couple weekends ago. Was it Iowa that they were undefeated going into, or was it Okie State?
Okie State probably.
Yeah, I mean they were undefeated, and I think they've only got one duel or had one dual loss. Anyhow,
Yeah, so they beat Iowa State. Granted, Iowa State has kind of been plagued with injuries, but this was a crazy match if you hadn't seen it. Um, One of the bigger upsets, and we'll kind of go through it. Cody Chittum beats Ryder Downey 4-2, but this match between Colin Riobito and Pinheiro Johnson, it was wild because it's senior night for UNI. Riobito shoots in. Pinheiro kind of like does one of those. He's in on the ankle, but then he like kicks away towards the out of bounds, turns and faces, and then Riobito shoots him out of bounds, and that was his fourth stalling call. So he gives him 2 points to send it to overtime, and
um,
then Riobito Pinheiro Johnson looked absolutely gassed,
yeah,
and then Riobito takes him down in overtime to win 10-7.
and four of his 7 points leading up to that point was stalling.
Uh, yeah,
1-1-2. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. So wild, wild match. We also saw Evan Frost beat Julian Farber. Sorry, I was looking at the other Frost. Cale Happel beats Jacob Frost 10-7 in another close match.
Yeah,
So,
Jacob Frost is having a solid season, but
do
yeah.
you, how do you think you and I would do against Iowa?
I mean, it'd probably be a pretty competitive duel. Um, Iowa always finds a way to win, though, against most teams except Penn State. Um,
Yeah, I'm looking at the lineup. I really only feel confident about
with
you and I winning maybe like ugh, maybe
Parker
three.
did win at 84 for sure.
Yeah, they win with Parker. Maybe Ryder Downey could take out Teamer. Maybe.
That's a stretch.
Yeah. And obviously Iowa State out with injuries with Younger and 49 pounder. Blanking
Oh,
on the name.
Edgemond, yeah.
Edgemond, yeah, yeah, yeah.
He'll be back
So,
next year.
well, yeah, yeah, they'll be back next year. Um, before we circle back to kind of Big Ten news, how about Zeth Romney, who's been on a tear all season?
Yeah,
He
yeah. He's like
loses
trying to be the guy to beat.
He loses to Nasir Bailey, which great win for Nasir. He kind of had a last minute takedown to his back. So it's an 8-2 score, but it was a lot closer. I think it was 2-1 or something, or even it was very close. And then Nasir literally took him down to his back. Must have
You
been a
think
seven
this
point
year's back
move.
true to form like last season, or you think this was just happened to fall in
I
his
think
favor?
Nasir, like I look back to the Braden Davis match and I'm like, he didn't even try. And we saw that several times with Nasir this match. It's like he didn't even try.
Yeah.
And I don't know. It's kind of weird. He has the skill. It's just maybe an attitude thing. So I I I'm confident that he'll All American again this year.
Yeah, I think he'll probably All-American, but I don't know that he'll necessarily eclipse last year. Like he took fourth last year. I don't think I have a feeling he's not going to finish top four.
Interesting. Okay. Well, so speaking of Zeth Romney, he then drops another match to Northern Illinois unranked wrestler Markel Baker 7-6. So not a great weekend for Zeth Romney,
Yeah,
who was previously
great,
ranked number as high as number 4.
great weekend for Markel Baker.
Yeah, Markel Baker. You go, Markel Baker. Um and
You
um
then Coco.
yeah, exactly. And then shout out Matty Lopes. He's a Connecticut guy, right?
Yeah, yeah, he was a Danbury guy. I gave him in private lessons when he was like an elementary school kid for a few
Yeah, I
years.
remember him. I remember him. Shout
Um,
out, he got a nice ranked win over Ryan Miller this past weekend,
oh,
four to
Ryan
three.
Miller, the one who defeated Tyler Casack?
No,
No, wrong, right. Oh, wait, that's
you're
isn't
thinking Ethan Miller. You're
Oh,
thinking
Ethan
Ethan.
Miller, Ethan.
Yeah, which Ethan Miller, by the way, ended up ducking Joey Blaze so that he could secure the number one seed at Big Tens.
Well, I mean, if AJ can do it, you know.
Yeah, I was just about to say, speaking of ducks, AJ ducks Stephen Little. I mean, that's such a weenie move.
AJ needs to preserve his undefeated record going into NCAAs.
How do you think AJ's gonna do come
think
postseason?
I think he's gonna All-American, but I feel like he's gonna be like fifth or sixth.
I mean, he's in the Pac-12, which is like one of the worst divisions.
I mean, he's gonna be undefeated conference champ. They're gonna have to give him like a fairly high seed. So like I feel like he's gonna be like the sixth seed or something.
You think that low? He's undefeated. He's 12-0,
But it's only 12-0. But you also include RPI and coaches ranking.
which they recently announced. I don't know if he was even eligible for that based on total number of
Yeah,
matches.
exactly. So that's why like I feel like he's gonna be somewhere like around sixth seed or something.
Mm. Well, we'll see. I mean, he'll be in the RPI once conference tournaments are done, but
What you mean the coaches ranking?
coach's ranking, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, all right. Well, let's get into some of the big name dual meets from the past weekend. So we'll start with Penn State versus Ohio State, and this one started off with a bang. And I would just like to take my moment of glory right here because I was absolutely, I mean, I don't even know the right word. Family friendly.
Vindicated.
I was attacked. I was
Oh, oh,
called so many names for picking Joey Cruz over Luke Lilledall. And my rationale was that Joey Cruz beat a very talented Brendan McCrone. And both you, Mikes, were like, Brendan McCrone, that's not really an impressive win. And then lo and
really
behold,
isn't an impressive win.
Brendan McCrone goes and pins Luke Lilledall, slaps a cradle on him. And I'll give here's my take. It was 6-2 going into that. Luke scored two takedowns in the first period. He chooses bottom, which was a mistake. I don't think he'll do that again. He doesn't need to go on bottom. And McCrone is a great rider. He's very lengthy. He throws in a leg and he's got length and he slapped a cradle on and pinned him. Plain as day. I think if Luke and McCrone wrestle 10 times, the next 9 matches, I would probably pick Luke at least 7 times. I
Oh,
think the
I thought you were about
only,
to say nine times. Mike would pick him 9 out of 9.
yeah, he'd probably pick him 9. But here's the thing, like with a guy like McCrone, he's a pinner, similar to Ryder Ragazzi on Ohio State. He can slap that cradle on you in any funky position, whether it's from neutral, whether from the top. He could choose top and maybe go for some tilts and or some turns. So it'll be interesting how Penn State plays that one. I think he's got the advantage on neutral,
Yeah.
and he'll learn his lesson not to go on bottom. But it just goes to show D1 wrestling. Hey, everyone's tough.
Well, and also Mike even admitted that he after that loss he finds it very difficult for him to endorse Luke Lilledall for national title.
I think he's just a little too raw. I just he hasn't been consistent enough. I mean, even some of his wins were just kind of 1 point wins where he barely
Right.
scathed by. Even though 25 is kind of an open weight class for the most
I
part.
mean, Vincent Robinson is currently undefeated, and so is Matt Ramos.
Yeah, and
And Matt
Richie
Ramos is
Figs.
number 2 in the Tech Fall leaderboard.
Don't forget about Richie Figs.
Oh, and Richie Figs, returning national champ, is also in the mix. But didn't he lose? Or no?
I think
Was that an
maybe
injury?
a medical injury.
Yeah, I think it was an injury. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, so and so that was a crazy way to start. And I will say that I feel like home field advantage is
Oh, a factor for
a
sure.
big factor because it was at Ohio State. And so going into that match, 6 points for Ohio State, that's a lot of momentum. Almost carried through into the 33-pound match with Buzakis. Now, I don't know if you saw that kind of controversial um, back point reversal. So basically, Davis gets the takedown. Buzakis reverses him, pretty much slaps a crate. I think it was a pretty much a cradle. And there was potential that Davis was pinned for like for a hot second. If the ref was quick to slap the mat, then it could have been a pin.
Probably
And
most of us are slow to call that, not fast.
yeah, but he was on his back for at least 3 swipes. They reviewed it for literally 10 minutes. It was a 10-minute review and ended up being no swipes. And I'm like, this is at Ohio State. What do you like what are we doing for 10 minutes? You couldn't make a decision in 10 minutes? That's a terrible look. Whether you reverse it or keep it the same,
Yeah,
there's no
that's
way it should take 10
there
minutes.
needs to be a rule in place that like a video review decision needs to be made in like 60 seconds or less.
Yeah. These judgment calls by these refs, I just feel like they're they don't want to they don't want to reverse a call, even
Yeah,
though
but
Joe
that's also
Seeley.
affecting the outcome of a match because a 10-minute break in the middle of a match.
Well, that's yeah, that's part of it too. So Davis ends up winning the match. It's pretty close. It's I think it's 7-5 or 7-4 victory. But if he gets those few near falls, I mean, I think Davis had the advantage on neutral, but Buzakis is not one to count out. So I competitive match. I'd like to see them run it back at Big Tens. But I was looking at Big Tens for 133 because I'll just talk about it now. E Not Ethan. Lucas Bird picked apart Braden Davis. It wasn't even close. And
Oh,
I think there was
yeah.
one call there where he didn't get a takedown when
I
it
think
was
the last time we
pretty
picked national
clearly
champ,
a
I picked
takedown.
Bird.
Was that?
The last time we picked national champs, I picked Bird.
Yeah, I mean it's a good pick. It was like 8-1. And I think there was one call that it was pretty clear takedown that ended up not being called a takedown. Um, Big Tens 133, Drake Ayala, Lucas Bird, Braxton Brown, Braden Davis, Dylan Shaver, Nick Bouzakis, Zan Fugit, Jake Van D, Tyler Wells. So you're looking at Braden Davis. He's lost to 3 of those guys in the past. He's lost to Bird. He's lost to Ayala last year at 25, and he's lost to Jake and Van D.
Yeah, and Van D lost to Fugit.
Do you think, okay, here's a question for the chat. Do you think that Penn State's victory at NCAAs, like the margin, is going to be greater at nationals or at Big Tens?
Big Tens.
You think they're going to have a wider margin at Big Tens?
Oh wait,
A wider margin of
no.
victory?
Yeah, no, the opposite at nationals because Big Tens, everyone's got 10 wrestlers. At NCAAs, they're they're very likely to have 10 or at least 9. Um, if someone doesn't somehow qualify, but they'll probably have all 10. So they'll have more guys scoring, and plus they have the guys that are like the returning finalists that all should very likely at very least be in the semis, if
So,
not the finals again. So
hmm,
that's huge points.
yeah. So last year at Big Tens, Penn State scored 170.5 points. Michigan took second place with 123.5. So that was a 47 point gap. So here's the question. Do you think Penn State scores more team points at Big Tens or at NCAAs?
NCAAs.
Team points? Really?
More what? Pin?
Team points.
Oh, team. Yeah. Because didn't they score like 180 last year at
No,
it?
it was 172.5, and which was
Oh,
record breaking. So here's the question. This is very interesting. Chat down below. Will Penn State score more team points at Big Tens or at NCAAs? Last year, for context, Penn State scored 170.5 at Big Tens, and for NCAAs, they scored 172.5 and had a
and
100 point margin of victory.
hmm. I think
They only
yeah,
had a
margin of victory will
47.
be bigger at NCAAs, but I think it's gonna be harder to beat the score that they're gonna get at Big Tens. Eh,
I think with this year, I don't think they're going to break the 172.5 again.
no.
I just don't see it.
Well, yeah,
I
no.
don't think they'll have as many champs as in the past.
No, yeah, yeah.
They'll get close, but I I think I'm going to pick Big Tens. They're going to score more team points at Big Tens.
I mean, that seems pretty reasonable.
Yeah. Well, anyway, let us know your thoughts down below. Which one will Penn State score more? But yeah, moving on back to Penn State, Ohio State. How about Bo Bartlett, Jesse Mendez, what was this, round five?
I think so. This is well, if you include the NWCA All-Star Classic, um, that was the last time they wrestled since this duel. And then before that was NCAA finals, Big Ten finals, the duel. This has been at least five matchups.
Yeah, I'm seeing four regulation ones.
And then the NWCA. Um, it, I mean, I'm definitely surprised that Bo was able to pull it off. Mendez has managed to score a takedown in the last three matchups, and Bo has zero takedowns in the prior three matchups.
That's true.
So I would not have thought this is the case, but then again, I also think that this is going to be something where Bo got the win here in the duel. If they match up at NCAs or Big Tens, Mendez is going to get both of those. Like,
Well, it's it's funny because last year Bo got the win at the duel, and then he lost it at Big Tens and
yeah, no,
lost
I
at
know. That's
national.
what I was saying. Like, I think the same exact thing will happen. Because, like, I feel
Yeah.
like this is going to fuel Mendez. Like, he's going to be like, ah, now I gotta go harder. I gotta refine my training. I gotta review where did I go wrong, and make some adjustments.
Well, here's I mean, the one takedown was like literally a Merkel position off of Mendez's shot. It's not like Bo was in any offensive
No, yeah,
position
exactly.
to score. So it was literally like a reattack. If you can even call it that. I feel like Mendez just kind of bailed from a scrambly position, which he usually is
Which is
fine in.
which is why I don't think that Bo can recreate it, and he'll end up losing the next any times they wrestle.
The only reason I think it's still a toss up is because it just comes down to one takedown in every single one of these matchups. I think
Mm,
in five times they've matched up, it's been one takedown a match. So whoever scores that one takedown wins the match.
yeah, yeah.
So, um, how about 149? Shane Van Ness had his hands full with Dylan D'Amelio. I don't know if you saw it. I don't know how D'Amelio blew that double leg takedown. Literally shot in, lifted him up in the air, slammed him down, and then Van Ness kind of like rolled through and um no takedown. But D'Amelio was taking it to him. It almost went to overtime. Van Ness got like a last minute takedown to win it, but
Yeah, I mean, D'Amelio's a bruiser. He's all American before. He's kind of a boomer bust. Like he could be real competitive or he isn't. So, I mean, I'm still impressed that he was putting the screws to Van Ness and taking it to him and really almost beating him. Like the way Van Ness has been wrestling lately, including getting beaten as badly as he did by Ridge, and then he beats Parko. Like, yeah, it's possible he could win the title, but I just feel like he's not quite consistent enough for me to continue to give him my vote of confidence that he's
He's
going to
kind
win.
of sloppy.
Yeah, like that's the thing. Like I feel like would I say do I think he can make the national finals? Like I feel like that's probably not likely, but like I might say I could see it happening, like definitely in the national finals, but I feel like I don't think he's going to put enough together to get the title. I feel like he's going to take second or third.
Mm, I can see that. I can see that.
Yeah.
Biggest match, I think, of this duel was Carson Harkla versus Levi Haynes. Now,
Oh
first
yeah.
off, Harkla, dumb. D-U-M, dumb. He,
MB?
though, is absolutely massive at that weight. Usually, Levi looks like he's bigger than most guys, even at 174. Harkla tossed him around like he would have an underhook and just like shuck him by, and Levi would go flying. Harkla must be so freakishly strong
Yeah.
because Levi was never in any offensive position to threaten a score. The one takedown, so Harkless scored a takedown first period, fairly easy, got in on the legs several times, threatened to score, pushed the pace, and then literally he's up 4-2. About a minute 15 seconds left. What does Harkless decide to do? Let me take a terrible shot. Levi Haynes reattacks and takes him down, rides him, and wins 6-4 with riding time. If Harkless just stayed in his stance, hand fought like he was doing the entire match, he didn't need to take that shot. Levi
Yeah.
was nowhere near his leg the entire time.
But that's Harkless' MO. Like he does stupid things. That's like last season or the season before when I think it was last season before he got injured. He was losing like he got pinned by some guys. Like he would lose matches to guys that like he shouldn't. It, he does weird dumb stuff. And I mean, it's impressive that he was able to have as competitive a match and basically he blew it against the returning national champ 2 weight classes down, but
I mean, he definitely wrestled a dumb third period. There was no reason. I mean, I appreciate the mentality to put the match away and score one last takedown, but you didn't need to. The guy wasn't even close to your leg the entire time.
yeah.
Levi, I don't even think just took one shot. Wasn't even on a leg. So dumb match. I would love to see those guys wrestle again at Big Tens. Hopefully it's a matchup at 74.
Right.
But yeah, those were my biggest takeaways from Penn State versus Ohio State. How about Minnesota versus Iowa? Joey Cruz, by the way, my boy, he upsets Cooper Flynn.
I'm not really that surprised. Cooper Flynn, I feel like, is somewhat overrated. Like, I mean, not that he's not good, but like, I feel like people hype him up way more than he performs, or at the end of the year ends up performing.
Mhm. So the funniest match of the entire season was Gable Steveson versus Ben Keeter. I mean, if you want a good laugh, this is no disrespect to Ben Keeter, but oh my God. And at one point, Gable was like patting Keeter on the back, and it looked like Keeter was kind of smirking at one point, even too.
Oh my
I
gosh.
mean, he literally, like, he just blast doubled him straight to his back for a 7 point move once. It was just toying around with him. Tech falled him 19-3 in 2 minutes and 51 seconds.
Yeah, that's crazy.
I mean, it was just different stratospheres
Yeah.
of talent. I mean, it's insane what Gable he did like a duck under double, like did whatever he wanted at any point. It was insane. So check that out if you haven't seen that match yet. Minnesota ended up winning with 3 matches. Max McAnally
Yeah, that's what I was
stays
going to say.
undefeated.
And
What's
he
that?
overtime over Gabe.
Yeah, I mean, I think Gabe Arnold knows how to keep a match close. I think
Yeah.
if he wrestled Carter, it'd probably be a similar. It might even go to overtime. I don't know, but
Right.
I don't know actually. After seeing Carter stall out Edmund Ruth, that was bad.
Yeah.
But I feel like Edmund Ruth maybe a little bit different. But
All out Edmund Ruth.
either way, McAnally stays undefeated, beats Gabe Arnold. It's just clear as day. Gabe Arnold is just outsized at this weight class. I mean, kudos for him for staying competitive against these top guys. I don't think we'll see him versus Okie State, but you'll have to wait for our Okie State preview.
How about
And
the return of the one and only son nephew?
Nelson Brands.
Nelson Brands is
So
back.
he didn't wrestle against Minnesota. He wrestled against Illinois, I believe.
No, I'm just saying he's back. Does
Yeah,
that
I
mean
mean,
does that mean that Pat Kennedy is now on the bench?
no, I really hope not.
Like,
Even though Pat Kennedy is comparatively only two, one of 3 Iowa wrestlers not in the top 10 in rankings. Oh,
yeah,
actually, no, that's not true. Keuter's 11 too. Kennedy's 11.
I feel like Kennedy's just better.
He is better. He's better for the team, better. Nelson Brands doesn't do anything.
Well, he did All American once.
That's nice.
That's nice.
Um,
It's so nice.
I'm very high on Vance Von. He
Oh
You
yeah.
know, it was annoying. The feed cut out. I don't know how Cullen Shriver scored his last few points. It ended up being 14-10. But I'm telling you, something might be going on with Mendez because Von Bar took Mendez to the ultimate tiebreaker
Yeah. Because
before dropping a match
pretty good.
to yeah, Von Bar
He knows
and
how to
that's
turn
another
it
way.
on late in the season too.
Yeah, that's another way at Big Tens that's going to be very interesting because he almost beat I mean so many people almost beat Bo Bartlett. It's not even funny, but uh, I'm
Yeah.
he's a
Just think
dark
of Bo
horse.
Bartlett's
He's a
record
dark
of all
horse.
of his almost losses.
Yeah, there's a lot. There's a lot of those.
Yeah.
So yeah, there you have it. Those are the biggest highlights from the weekend. Drop a comment down below. What were some of your biggest takeaways from this past weekend? Where do you see the outlook come postseason for, Big Ten, Big 12, ACC? Which conference are you keeping tabs on? We want to know down below. As always, thanks for watching Cactus Wrestling.
Thanks for watching. We are Cactus Wrestling, and we'll see you next time on our next video.